Okay, so for a long time, I think during 2020 till like 2022 or 3, there were very chopped individuals that were chopped by design, by their own choices, that would flaunt and brag about how hideous they were on social media, particularly TikTok. These people would make videos where they showcase how like gross and weird looking they are to make some odd statement about revolting against either gender norms, beauty norms, which by the way, just so we're clear, revolting against beauty norms means looking fucking hideous and ugly and disgusting. Like, here, listen, I'm gonna fart. Okay, you didn't hear it. It was a silent one. But people would just be gross like that and think it would be beautiful. Like, to reclaim this shit. Anyway, be careful, Acheeto. The video starts about 2 minutes in. Anyway, okay, yeah, we can get into it, yeah.
So the other day, I was perusing the internet, as I do. It's a problem, really. And I came across a tweet that perfectly encapsulated a thought that I have also been having recently. In response to a new picture of Demi Lovato looking very feminine and beautiful, the author wrote, "Said this on Instagram not too long ago, but there was this weird trend where people, mainly celebrities, were uglying that's very hard to say, uglying themselves, embracing gender dysphoria, and just overall promoting mental illness."
I'm not even joking. I literally made this observation when it was happening. And Anissa Jamha, iDubbbz's wife, responded to my tweet with something along the lines of like, why does it matter? Who cares? Beauty's in the eye of the beholder or whatever. And it's like people saying beauty is in the eye of the beholder only when I highlight that someone's ugly are lying to themselves. What they're obviously doing is they're trying to pivot away from my observation to try to make some broader, widely appealing point about like, oh, yeah, you know, we all know that this person's ugly, but someone might find them attractive, just to reduce and minimize the thing called universal beauty and like standards. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know why this was a thing. Like Demi Lovato, obviously, you know, she looking good here, but she was like fat and looked non-binary and claimed to be non-binary for a while for literally like no reason. And it was a weird trend. It was strange. Beauty is objective. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that people can have their types, but there's very much a real thing where your type has some base root in objective beauty, 100%. Like, maybe you like goth girls, maybe like blonde girls, but either one is going to share similar traits, and they're not going to have certain traits, right? And I think if there's a very specific sort of thing that you're into, I think that's closer to a fetish than like a type, you know? So, yeah.
/ an unhealthy lifestyle. It was roughly between the years 2016 to 2023. Something shifted at the end of 2023, and it suddenly became cool to be normal and hot again. Demi Lovato is the poster child of this phenomenon.
Yeah, so I think part of this has to do with like the pandemic being fully over and people going outside and people understanding that when you're out in the wild, there is like survival of the fittest, there is peacocking, you want to actually look attractive to people. And there was this like reverse looks maxing shit that happened for a long time where I don't know how it happened or why it happened, but it was literally just like, hey, we're gonna flip the script. It's not whoever's the hottest gets the most attention and credibility, it's whoever's the ugliest. So
she is indeed. Can't even remember to use her own they them pronouns. Ironic.
I still mess up sometimes and, you know, say, oh, I can't wait to be an ant one day. And I'm like, wait.
But the reason seeing this post was so funny to me is because ages ago I had actually partially written a video asking why absolutely everything and everyone was so ugly. Modernity, Sydney. It's because of modernity. This was apparently the same idea that a lot of other YouTubers and journalists had as well, spanning multiple social and cultural ideas.
Yeah, glow downs.
With some commenting on how art and entertainment are both soulless and bland, how modern fashion is hideous, and the general unattractiveness associated with wokeism.
Why is everything so ugly? Why is everywhere we go, all of our stores, our advertisements, like everything that we interact with as people in the outside world, our TV, our music, why is it all so ugly?
Because, as we've all learned over the last number of years, there is a reason why the blue-haired feminist stereotype persists. And
So this is my theory. Everything that held up beauty was being tied to something that actually is bad by most standards, like racism and sexism and homophobia. And so to be someone who appreciates beauty and upholds a structure that has, let's just say, like a number ranking, someone can be on a scale from, ugly to attractive, to believe in that and to support that was actually to be racist, to be fatphobic, to be sexist. When at the end of the day, all that did was incentivize people to uglify themselves, to ugly themselves. And so, yeah, I don't think that it's racist or sexist to want to be hot. I don't think it's racist or sexist to not want to be ugly. And I certainly do not think that it's anti-racist or anti-sexist to become chopped.
And all identify who is a they, them based on appearance alone.
I don't like lying to the world about who I am.
And the temper tantrums and screaming. Not too long ago, I even remember watching the Irish entrant for the Eurovision Song Contest and thinking, how did we end up here, where this type of thing has become culturally normalized? And people are clapping?
Do you know what makes me special? I'm a queer. And I'm a witch!
You are
man, we got Chopped and Chopped Senior. People thought this was cool. This was Aura in 4 years ago.
Queer. And I'm a witch!
You are not queer. You are a straight person trying to be interesting. Anyway,
That's
the
also
last
true.
decade or
Yeah.
so has honestly been all about representation and diversity
Yes.
and body positivity and recently gender fluidity,
Yes.
giving us, I would argue, one of the ugliest periods in history. With all of this ideological ugliness injected into absolutely everything, from politics to entertainment to media to social media. But that seemingly has come to an end recently. Because finally, for the first time in a long time, being hot and normal is back in style. Thank fuck. So I want to talk about that.
I knew that this happened when guys started fawning over Sydney Sweeney again. When she was propped up and everyone was like, holy shit, oh, mommy milkers. You have to balance the goon. And obviously never goon. Don't do it. Simping over women online is going to lead to your own self-hatred and some horrible accident. You'll fall down the wrong path, you'll start taking pills, and you'll die. Okay? That's how it goes. But I won't lie, seeing a little bit of just perma-horniness for a normal-looking chick en masse made me think, oh, okay. At least we're celebrating something normal, a blonde girl with big tits. Maybe it's not the most highbrow thing to celebrate, and we are civilized. We're not apes who are going to only look at tits all the time. But for once, I was like, at least this is not some person who looks all fucked up and odd, like Anissa Jamha, or, these people on TikTok. And that's a good thing. And we needed that. It was a cultural reset.
Because I find all these type of things...
It's also you look at video games like Concord, and they literally have a character roster that's based on the hideous people that were posting themselves on TikTok in 2020. Girls with Norwood male pattern baldness and then 50,000 sharp piercings in their face.
Very interesting, and also I get to remind you all about a lot of weird crap that you've probably forgotten. I'll also caveat here among my normal disclaimers, this video is by no means exhaustive, that obviously attractiveness and ugliness are subjective things.
So, yes and no. Like I said, I don't think that there is somebody who is going... the way that I think about this, right, is the niche in which you occupy will be reflected oftentimes by how attractive you are. So... You can't be the pretty boy, and someone could say, oh, my type is pretty boys, if you're not fucking pretty. That's not a choice. That is your beauty, right? That's something that you just have. There's certain things you can choose, you can be goth, or you can have tattoos, or something like that. But if someone's type is a 6'5" dreadhead who hoops, step aside, white boy. That's just how it is, right? And so, yeah, that's what I think about that. You can be someone's type, but I oftentimes think that you need to possess certain things that are out of your control that people find objectively attractive to then become someone's type. If you're a goth and someone's type is a goth, but you're 5 foot versus 6 foot, this, hey, all of a sudden, goth is not her type if you're 5 foot.
There's also nothing wrong with promoting self-acceptance and actual body positivity around things that you can't change. No, that does not include being shaped like the Kool-Aid man. Sorry about that. I'm also only concentrating on one specific area of this conversation, but yes, I too would like McDonald's to look like it did in the 90s. So come on board, kids. Get aboard ye old hell gondola and let's do the thing, because I am ready to re-traumatize you all. But before we once again cuddle up together, let's hear from today's sponsor, Chubbies. As all of you know, I like to make really silly ads for brands. Sorry, Murphy's down here. But is a change in the West when it came for until very off your order. From the mid-2010s, maybe earlier, until very recently, there was a huge cultural change in the West when it came to attractiveness. There were a multitude of reasons for this, but some included a kind of knee-jerk reaction to the aesthetics of the 2000s, the rise of the body positivity movement, the emphasis on living one's truth and breaking...
Yeah, another part of this, I think, is women wanting to say that they don't need a man, and they don't do it by getting, like, a cool job and making a lot of money. They do it by shaving their head bald and then getting tattoos on their armpits and growing out their armpit hair. Like, I feel like there's one way to do it and that's actually good, and there's one way to do it that's just fucking retarded. Like, I understand being a strong, independent woman. Like, I know it's a meme, but it actually is like, okay, like, that's cool. If you want to be strong and independent, do it, okay? Go make some money. Go build a fucking life for yourself. That's awesome. But I don't think being a strong, independent woman means destroying your own natural beauty because you think that you don't like getting the attention from men, you know? It's like independence versus loneliness are two different things. You're walking down a path where you will be lonely, not independent.
Gender stereotypes and the feminist attempt to defy what men find attractive. And as a result, we got a wave of what I think has been the intentional uglification of seemingly everything and everything.
Because these are the people, like, the reason you can see a pattern where people like this are the ones that say kill all men is because they're so repulsed by men for whatever reason, maybe some unresolved trauma, maybe the propaganda got to them, that they need to make themselves look like this in order to repel men. Right? Because it's like, oh, it works. I don't want to be near this. She doesn't want to be near me. It works for both of us.
I see a lot of discourse on TikTok about the male repellent outfit, and usually it's just like a cute little red cardigan and like maybe some ballet flats. But when I tell you, I'm going to do you one more.
She looks like this character from this one slot that I spin sometimes.
This is the ultimate male repellent formula.
Like I mentioned, I think that this uglification is very strongly tied to the stranglehold that progressive woke ideals had on basically everything, and the aesthetics in turn showed up to match. Showed up to burn my retinas, actually. Celebrities all over the place were starting to hop on the transgender, non-binary, gender-fluid bandwagon, going from being quite regular looking or attractive to ghastly overnight.
Bro.
People like singer Sam Smith, who came out as
I'm gonna tell you something, and I mean this in the nicest way possible. If I ever see one of my homeboys turn out like this, I don't think I'll ever stop making fun of him. I don't care if his dad literally dies in a tragic car accident. If I go to his funeral and then he looks like this, I'm fucking crying of laughter. I'm literally gonna fucking like, bro, what?
Binary in 2019 and Demi Lovato, who came out in 2021, changed their appearances to match this development. Smith started appearing on stage wearing outrageous.
I'm sorry, bro. Just like, this is a human being. This is a real human being.
And Demi Lovato, who came out in 2021, changed their appearances to match. like someone like why did you do this to yourself? This development. Smith started appearing on stage wearing outrageous outfits, that's honestly putting it pretty mildly. During various performances, the singer wore a red latex suit with devil horns, simulated sex acts on dancers on stage, and danced around in fishnets and a corset. At the 2023 Brit Awards, Smith wore an inflatable black Harry jumpsuit with platform heels. What am I looking at here? Head shaved, strange outfits and makeup, doing whatever could be done to appear as non-conventional as possible. And these are just a few examples.
So he became a fat retard to own the trad conservatives. I can't. I just can't. I can't! Let me own my ops by becoming a fat retard.
Examples of the physical changes. I'm not sure I'm brave enough to show you any others. This one is just very upsetting. all on its own. Sometimes I genuinely feel like stylists
It's
actually
so funny.
hate the people that they're styling. Because
True.
why would you do this? Anyway,
Eliminate
Demi
the
Lovato
competition.
followed much the same path. In 2021, after her non-binary announcement, Lovato shaved her head, saying that the act was liberating and helped her shrug off gender and sexuality norms. Soon, she opted for baggy, grungy clothes and got a giant spider tattoo on the side of her head, as
my
you
God.
do. Around the same time, she also freaked out about a frozen yogurt shop after being triggered by their selection of sugar-free options due to her previously having an eating disorder. But
Bitch, sugar-free options, are, like, they don't even do anything. So if you're worried about diet culture, trust me, they're still gonna make people just as fat when they eat the sugar-free ice cream. If you think that they're really so harmful because they might make someone skinny, I promise you, they're gonna be fat. Okay, I bet you Sam Smith, your partner in crime, chows down on sugar-free yogurt.
somewhere between then and now, both musicians moved very far away from this kind of appearance. Thank God. Lovato publicly ditched the non-binary thing, telling outlets back in 2022 that it was a lot of effort correcting people who use the wrong pronouns. Soon she got married and now she's making cute cooking videos. In fairness to Demi Lovato, she was
So literally some guy took I Can Fix Her to heart and did it. I gotta, yo, who's her husband? What a fucking G. Nah. Demi Lovato husband. Oh my God, this guy put in some fucking work. Yo, this guy who kind of looks like Deadmau5, which Deadmau5 is my goat, literally got in there and he did what had to be done. He literally fixed her. Oh my God, what a G. What a fucking beast.
a Disney kid, which I feel like answers
Demi Lovato literally did crack. Who cares? That's more normal than being non-binary. You know how many people smoke crack?
a lot of questions in and of itself, and she has had a lot of struggles with addiction and with mental health and whatnot. So I think that her becoming what she is now and sort of returning to this
What a
feminized,
beast.
feminine version of herself probably has more to do with tackling those existing issues rather than, I don't know, jumping off of the weird gender identity bandwagon. As far as Sam Smith goes, I don't know. But I do know that very recently, actually in the last couple of days, he posted 2 very nice looking pictures on Instagram and has essentially scrubbed his weird era from the platform entirely. So do with that what you will. This same transformation...
I hate to tell you this, Sam, but there's kind of no erasing it. Like, it's there forever, my boy.
platform entirely. So do with that what you will. This same transformation...
These chat messages need to stop. He takes it for sure. Just stop. Just stop.
platform entirely. So do with that what you will. This same transformation went for people like Miley Cyrus, Billie Eilish, and even Lizzo. All women who promoted specific, fairly visually unappealing aesthetics only to later turn around and more or less embrace normalcy. And I think
I'm going to be honest about Lizzo. The whole thing with Lizzo is like, I'm a fat, loud black woman who's going to tell you how fat and loud and black I am. I think I'm all right.
appealing aesthetics only to later turn around and more or less embrace normalcy. And I think this was guided by gender identity and this social concept of living one's truth and being one's authentic self. Basically, every single one of these people, with the exception of Lizzo, but we'll come back to her later, has claimed to be gender fluid or non-binary or some part of the
Bro, the only fluid... I know Lizzo didn't say she gender fluid, but she definitely trying to drink the gender fluid because of its calorie content.
community. And we see exactly this reflected in women, predominantly, over on TikTok. I am very sorry for what I'm about to show you. No, I'm not. I am lying. It is not a joke that you can look at someone and their particular aesthetic and be more or less able to identify their political leanings and beliefs.
Because I'm sexy and chubby, man.
Why are you on a diet?
Because I like to eat. Is that such a crime?
The TikTok gender identity aesthetics are based around signaling one's rejection of the male and female binary. because those have always been the only two options, guys. I'm sorry. TikTok's anti-fashion trends have genuinely been an attempt to appear as unattractive as possible. And outside of the gender thing, they chalk this up to breaking beauty conventions. This is why we ended up with movements like Genuhairy that encouraged women to grow out their body hair, and women proudly participated in this.
I'm all natural.
So I have this thing, call it a little quirk if you will. I have hair in my armpits. I have it there for a few reasons. 1, lazy. 2, fuck the patriarchy. And 3, your response to them tells me everything I need to know about you.
Ma'am,
There was a drug dealer who had a really nice car that I knew, and I was like, brother, how did you afford this car? How many clients do you have? And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, there's clearly a lot of customers.
Your response to them tells me everything I need to know about you.
Ma'am, I think you've been shaving the wrong part of your body. This is also why we ended up with such
What the fuck is this beast doing on my screen?
a huge fat acceptance community on the app. This is also why we ended up with such a huge fat acceptance community on the
Bro, what the fuck has to happen for you to become this monstrously fat?
app. What initially started as body positivity, an idea that encouraged
Oh
people
my
to love
God.
themselves despite their flaws or whatever, morphed into fat people wanting representation absolutely everywhere, wanting to see themselves and be accommodated absolutely everywhere. This eventually turned into the outright normalization of obesity.
Just a reminder that I am very fat and very sexy.
Oh, I really need a reminder. It's not like you take up 60% of the fucking screen.
And I am 100% glorifying obesity. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh, sorry, was I too confident in my own body?
Yo, what the fuck is this?
I overcame so many struggles to learn how to love.
Of course, I mean, it's kind of funny, to be honest, that your dress has moons on it, though.
Oh, she's so full of herself now. Well, who the fuck am I supposed to be full of if it ain't me?
I am both too young and too old to be seeing this. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand loving yourself, but maybe we could do that a little less loudly. And on a treadmill. But as all of this gained in popularity, as more celebrities jumped on board, the corporate and entertainment spaces saw an opportunity to make a bunch of money. Suddenly, people like Jonathan Van Ness and Alok Vade Menon, a non-binary activist, were appearing in news and media absolutely everywhere. Back in 2023, Burberry published images for a Valentine's Day campaign showing a model with a most bizarre haircut, and that's honestly putting it pretty mildly, and another model with double mastectomy scars. For a high-end brand, this felt insanely out of place. I know this isn't directly related, but brands who had absolutely...
Nah, but to be fair, the fashion industry is full of this gay shit, so I'm not even surprised. I mean, Balenciaga, like, raped children, so I don't think it's above them for their, like, Why did I open FL by accident?
Nothing to do with and weren't remotely in the realm of transgenderism decided to jump on the bandwagon too. Like Bloody Bud Light, the redneck man beer brand, partnering with Dylan Mulvaney. Who was this supposed to appeal to? I do think it's interesting that Bud Light has still not recovered from this. They trans, too close to the sun. We had this over-
Yeah, I don't drink Bud Light. Not because I don't like drinking, but because I don't want to run the risk of becoming gay.
emphasis on plus size inclusion in absolutely everything.
Now people drink Bud Light again because of Shane Gillis? Maybe.
As many of you know, this went far beyond showing everyday normal bodies and fully branched into promoting morbid obesity. Lizzo was the poster child for this, making videos defending being fat, suggesting those critical of her size were anti-body positivity. Tess Holliday was consistently in the news, and in
What an absolute unit. I mean...
were anti-body positivity. Tess Holliday was consistently in the news, and in 2018, she appeared on the cover of Cosmopolitan magazine, sparking sparking an intense debate around the promotion of obesity. But she wasn't the only one, and Cosmo wasn't the only magazine. In this
My favorite talking point from fat people who are models and stuff, like they say this thing, it has me dead. They'll talk about like, oh, my ass is huge, my tits are huge. Honey, so are your fucking legs and everything else. Like, they kind of pale in comparison to everything else. Like, you ain't built like a fucking hourglass, you're built like the Big Ben, okay? Let's just make sure we understand what we're talking about here. You know, look,
same year, Holiday appeared on the cover of the outlet Self. A few years later, in 2022, the same outlet published a series of images of a fat influencer called Jasmine, calling her the future of fitness. She also appeared on the cover of Cosmo. Sydney.
This is healthy. Let's see.
Her the future of fitness. She also appeared on the cover of Cosmo. Sydney, not even close. It's pronounced Jessamine, I think. I don't know why you can't read. In 2020, Calvin Klein ran ads with fat trans model Yari Jones. Why are names so hard? Why am I this way? The year before, they ran a campaign with a model who is best
I speak my truth in my Calvins, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, they did need a billboard this size.
described as obese. Never forget what they took from us. My issue with this
What's this?
described as obese. Never forget what they took from us.
Oh my god. Can you show that on YouTube?
My issue with this specifically is that in an effort to jump on the body positivity bandwagon, what ended up happening was fat acceptance became more normalized and obesity became more normalized, and having deeply and inherently unhealthy habits became more normalized. And I guess what's interesting and what kind of fits into the overall vibe of this video is that many of the primary players during this time have either faded into nothingness or they've gone ahead and lost a ton of weight. Like Lizzo, who recently popped back up after having lost a tremendous amount of weight. And honestly, she looks really great, and I think this is actually quite a cool achievement for her.
Sure.
Same goes for other musicians like Meghan Trainor, who once wrote a song about not being skinny and borderline attacking thin
Wait, really?
people, only to become one of us, and now she looks like a snack. The point is, this period of time gave us some of the most bizarre and upsetting advertising that I have ever seen. All of these brands were trying to emulate the weird gender fluid aesthetics that were coming out of TikTok, and absolutely nobody can change my mind. This is what Gen Z does to us.
Yeah, so anyway, I don't know why the age of ugly is over. I just know that it is. I don't know why it happened. I'm just glad that it's over. And that's all I really have to say about this. So yeah.